welcome back to another great episode of Raihana's Cuisines. Today we're going to be making cutlas. Cutlas is made from potatoes and ground beef. Now I cook my ground beef. I've got a video up there showing how a method of how I make my ground beef from scratch, and that video I've done with my mom. So let's get started. Let's review some ingredients here. I've got about 3 cups of canola oil warming up here, and then I have about 4 to 5 potatoes. Now this will not give exact measurements because this will be based on how you like your cutlass. If you like a lot of meat in it, you'll add a lot of meat. If you like not too much meat in your cutlass, then you can hold back on the ground beef. So I've got about 4 to 5 boiled potatoes here, which are nice, they're cooled. And then I've got my ground beef. I label my stuff and I put them in the freezer, so my ground beef is ready. And so, you know, when you prepare a little bit ahead of time and do your ground beef ahead of time, saves a lot of time when you want to cook. I have some plain all-purpose flour that we're going to use to dip the cutlass in. And then I've got 2 eggs here that I've beaten really well. I've got some dried parsley flakes. I've got lemon pepper. Now if you don't get lemon pepper where you are, don't worry about it. Just add some more ground pepper, and you could use citric acid or limbu na phul, which is what's called in Gujarati. I've got salt. I've got some green chutney here. I've got a video on that too, so if you need to know how I make the green chutney, please refer to that video. I've got some black pepper. I have some fresh coriander here that I have cut up into chopped up fine, and then I've got some onions here that I've chopped up fine too. So let's get started. I'm gonna put my glove on because we're gonna be mashing the potatoes up. So basically we're just gonna be incorporating all the ingredients together. So I've got the onions in here. I'm gonna go ahead and add my kothmir or my coriander, crushed chopped up coriander, and that's optional. I love the taste of coriander, so I add more in it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and mash my potatoes just with my hand. You don't, you know, if you have a potato masher, want to use that, go ahead and do it. If you have a rice masher and you want to do that, use that. However you want to do it. My potatoes are nice. I use Yukon potatoes. They're a little bit pricey, but they taste really good, and they work really well. Now one thing you also want to make sure that you don't want to be adding too much liquid in this, because you're going to make the mixture really soft and then they're going to break. So you kind of want to keep it a little on the drier side. That's why I don't add the lemon juice in there. So if you don't have the lemon pepper, then use citric acid, but don't add lemon juice in there. So there we go, we've got them pretty much, and then we're gonna be mixing that anyways. I'm just gonna add a little bit of green chutney on, very little bit, just to give it a little taste. I'm gonna go ahead and add some black pepper in it, which is fine crushed black pepper. I'm gonna go ahead and add some lemon pepper in it to give it a little tart. We're going to go ahead and add some salt to taste, and then we're going to be doing a taste test just to make sure that all the ingredients have are nice and tasty. I'm just going to mix all this together. These actually taste really good in kids sandwiches too. So you know, if you have any leftovers, put them between a bun and send them to school with it. Okay, now I'm just gonna eyeball ground beef. I like more potato than meat, so you'll just have to eyeball between 4 to 5 potatoes. This is about 3/4 cup of ground beef. And I think that's plenty. Like when you start mixing it, you'll be able to really tell whether you need to add more or not. Now you could add garam masala if you wanted in this, but I already have garam masala in my my keema or my chundo or my ground beef, so I am not going to add any more in it. Okay. I'm quickly going to give it a taste test. I just want to make sure that we have enough salt in there. Just going to add a little bit more salt. Now, I'm going to mix this up, and then we're going to season our eggs too, just because I like to follow my seasoning from the way out all the way inside. So that way everything is seasoned really, really well. And this is perfect. You see, it's not soft and it's not, you know, it's just perfect. I'm going to put this aside here, and then I'm going to season my eggs with some salt, some lemon pepper, and some parsley flakes. Now the reason I put parsley flakes in it is I just like the way the presentation, the way it looks. So I'm just gonna mix that. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm gonna show you a couple of different ways that you can roll these. Okay, so you can make them in a shape like a kebab, like so. And you know, when you start rolling them, just start putting them on a plate. Okay, I'm going to do that once more here. Now, for the dipping, some people use breadcrumbs. You can for sure go ahead and use breadcrumbs. I'll tell you why I don't like using breadcrumbs. I don't like the texture of breadcrumbs on top of my kebab. I like it smooth. The other way, the traditional way, I think, is to do like a half or like an oval shaped. So when you're rolling them, it's kind of nice to just let them rest a little before we start frying it. And then, so let's do one more of the oval shaped. Okay. The other way you can do it is just like hamburger patties. So that way, if you really want to put it like in between a bun, you can do that. See that? And you'll see that, you know, all my circles and my ovals are about the same thickness. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, finish rolling these up, we'll come back, we're gonna fry these. So I've finished rolling them up and I started frying them. I'm just gonna show you how I did it. What you want to do is you want to take your cutlets and you want to dip it in the flour, right, just like so. Make sure you get everything. That way you just want to get all of them. Okay. Once you get all of them, then you want to dip it in the egg mixture just like so, and just put them on a plate. That way You know, you don't have to be over the frying pan dipping them right away, and you're not going to have that much mess in your oil because most of the egg is going to fall. The dripping is just going to drip out. Okay. All right, just like so. I'm quickly going to go and wash my hands. And take these out. Now make sure you hold your spatula sideways so you can get most of the excess oil to drip out. You want to go ahead and you want to lay them on a paper towel like this. Oops, sorry about that. And then my hands are dry. Make sure they're dry, they're not wet, otherwise the water will fall and then you're going to get splattered. And you just want to place them in the oil close. Don't drop them in because the oil is going to splatter you. The closer you go to the oil, the better it is. But just don't dip your fingers in there. I've done that so many times. All right. Okay. While these are frying up, I'm going to show you how I have finished up these right here. And then you're just gonna, now these about 5, I would say 4 to 5 big potatoes yielded about 15 cutlasses, but that also depended on the, you know, the different shapes. So like I think if you make them smaller or bigger, you're gonna have a different quantity. So, and see, I like the little bit of the green. You can see the green coming through. Not very much, but I just kind of like a little bit of color in there. And if you want to make them even darker, you can. But like, see how these are really nice and smooth, that when you use the breadcrumbs, when you bite into it, I feel like there's a gritty mixture on top of it. And I personally don't like it, but if you don't mind it, you can use breadcrumbs if you want, perfectly fine. And they go pretty fast. The only one advice I would give is when you put them in, leave them alone. Because if they haven't browned yet, they're gonna break. So the only time that I went in there was when they were a little browned. So I know that they're not gonna break. So we have these coming out. I've shut off my stove. There you go. And so let's go ahead and give this a taste test. When you break into it, you can see the ground beef, you can see the fresh coriander, you can see the onions, and the potatoes are not completely mashed, but you know, you've got some pieces, and I like getting that. And look at the crust is really nice too. So I serve it with green chutney here, but I can't have green chutney because of my my health issues. So let's go ahead and give it a try. And I have to say, without the green, even without the green chutney, they're fabulous. They are so good. I think my hubby's gonna be back from work. He's gonna enjoy this because he loves these. So there you have it. This concludes our episode of making keema, chundo, or ground beef cutlasses. And we can just take some parsley. And there you have it, folks. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Raihana's Cuisines. Hope you can join me here next time with another great recipe. See you then, friends.